Recording in progress.
All right, good evening. It is Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. We are calling the Groton Town Council Committee of the Whole regular meeting agenda to order. It is 6:34 p.m. Call to order. We have all present except for Councilor Pacino and Councilor Merritt, who had contacted me prior to the meeting, and we have Councilor Jones on Zoom. Up next is calendar and communications. Councilor Bordelon.
Thank you. I received still a ton of phone calls regarding the whole police situation that's been discussed over and over at many of the meetings. I still continue to get calls from people calling from all over. I have received some calls from local folks with concerns about the new rule change in regards to limiting folks down to 2 minutes and then only holding a 30-minute public comment portion of our meeting, which only happens once a month, and constituents feel that their voices or time is being suppressed and changed, which is something we've never done. In the past, we have gone from 5 minutes down to 3 minutes. So it's not the time change necessarily, but we've had larger attendance of people. We're very upset about other issues that we're here 100 people deep and we went down to 3 minutes, but we never limited to a 30-minute dialogue in total. And so folks are very concerned about that, considering this is only their one opportunity per month. If they come out and a bunch of people show up, then, and they had questions, when does the 30 minutes start? Or is it each in person? Is it when they're walking up to, like, the whole time, from the time we started to the time, like, how is that being monitored? And I said, I don't know, but good questions. I personally don't agree with it at all. With that, I also wanted to say I'm very, very disgusted and disheartened by the decision of not putting me on a standing committee. The mayor had an opportunity again with the vacancy to put me on. I've been asking, I've been emailing, and I think to place another new member on and bypass a long-standing elected member to the community, again, people aren't happy, and it's just very unfortunate. It's not a matter of liking people. I've been told that I'm not on for reasons, tons of reasons, that I don't work well with others, they don't want me on there, all which are not fair and equitable. I deserve every right to be there if you want me there or not. I was duly elected at large. No one up here is a stronghold election. It's individually elected. And I have the support of the community, and I deserve a right to be on a standing committee, and it's just very frustrating, again, to be boxed out. So with that, I also received some phone calls about the bathrooms downtown in Mystic. So I went and checked them out. The flush in the women's room over by the parking area, when you press it, water squirts out sometimes. It's rusty behind there. So we do need some sprucing up down at our restrooms. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Rust.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I received a number of phone calls and emails that I think everyone on the council received. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor McBride.
Thank you. The only correspondence I received over the last week has been the same emails, correspondence relating to the police matter. That's all I have to report. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Good.
I also received the same emails and correspondence that the other members have. That's it.
Thank you. Councilor Parker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I volunteered at the United Way pop-up. That was at Thrive 55 yesterday for Groton residents. Well attended. The next mobile food with Councilor Rusk and Councilor Jones. The next mobile food pantry will be August 22nd at St. John's Christian Church from 12:30 to 1:30. And that, yes, I received all sorts of communications, and that's all I will discuss on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also attended, along with Councilor Parker and Councilor Rust, the pop-up food bank at Drive 55. It went very, very well. There's a lot of volunteers from, it slips me, so, but we had a lot of people there, so it was really good. I did a Parks and Rec hike with the kids from the summer program at the Parks and Rec. It was a lot of fun. Took them through Sheep Farm, and I've done 2 of these in the last 2 weeks. I also want to thank Mrs. Brown's class who was from the Groton Public Schools, took one of her classes through earlier this spring, and they all wrote me, and they gave me this week, letters that they put together, of all the kids put together letters of thank you for taking them on this hike and learning about the whale rock and the birds and all the stuff that we had. So it was a lot of fun. I think they were a third grade class. It's been a great partnership between Groton Open Space and the Groton schools, grades. Basically, I think it's kindergarten through fifth, and in the summertime, it's through Parks and Rec. So it was a lot of fun, and thanks Ms. Brown a lot for her and her class, and a lot of energetic young kids. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's been a very busy week, and we've all received communications. I think, I think I've received probably the most out of the council members, and many of them directed directly at me. I would not consider these communications from our residents, but rather from people that live outside of our community. They are not your normal, typical communications. I would rather say that they are very harassing in nature, very concerning for my safety, the safety of my family. And I think when we talk about, as a council, anything to do with the comment section and wanting to use words like suppressing, I would like to say nobody's rights have been violated, and changing the timing of the public comments is something that I was able to do as the mayor, and it is not unusual that other communities do this, and to use things like suppress and how very concerning it is. Well, let me just tell you, I'm very concerned for my safety. And I think that some people, when they want to keep going on with the rhetoric to encourage this type of communications from people, is very concerning and very disgusting to me.
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
direct it out towards the community, please.
Yeah, point of order.
Point of order.
Councilor Parker, I can speak.
Point of
during my
order.
Time as much as I'd like, thank you.
Madam
Councilor
Mayor,
Bordelon, what is your point of order? And I would like also, when we are finished with this part, I will have more time put back on my.
My point of order is, you're staring at me and directing it towards me,
Yeah.
and the comments I said, I had calls from local people.
This is not about your time to talk.
about
This is
the
my time to
30
talk,
minutes,
and you're
and I
out of
hear your
order.
concerns
You're
about your
out of
safety,
order. You are out of
but the
order. You
calls
do
I
not
were
have the
not
floor.
related to the
That is not a
police,
point of order.
concerned about the
That is
time.
not a point of
So I
order.
just
That is
don't-
not a point of order. You're
Thank you.
out of order again.
Thank you, I just want to be represented
You're
fairly.
out of order again.
Thank you for representing me.
So again, for the third time, you're out of order.
Thank you.
So I'll continue.
Just represent fairly.
I will continue.
Just make sure you say
I
yes.
will, we're going to take a break now. It's 6:42. We're taking a break because Councilor Bordelon will not remain in order, and do not speak at this time. Do
And
not speak at
I
this
want
time.
you to appropriately
Do not
represent me
speak
in
during
your
this
comments.
time.
Thank
You are out of order for,
Thank
this
you.
is your second time that you are now out of order.
Thank you.
So for me calling it out of order 3 times in a row, twice now.
Thanks.
One more time, we can go into our rules.
I've already recessed, aren't I?
No, I have not recessed because you have not stopped taking the floor when you don't have it. So it is 6:43 now. We're going to take a 5-minute break.
Perfect.
Yeah, it is perfect, isn't it?
Just represent me fairly. People called about the 30
I didn't
minutes.
say your name.
You looked
And
directly
you need
at
to
me.
stop. You need to stop.
No, I
Right
don't.
now, you
No,
need
I
to
don't.
stop.
I don't have to
You
stop.
need to stop.
I don't. I
Don't
asked-
speak to me.
I didn't.
Do not
represent
speak to me.
Correctly, please.
Do not speak to me.
They weren't non-local
Do not
people
speak to
that
me.
called.
Do
and
not. All right, it is 6:50, we're back from recess. All right, I'm going to continue my time, and I also want to say that as the mayor, I get to fill the vacant seats. And I put somebody in the vacant seat because I thought it was the right thing to do. And I have, outside of sitting here publicly, told Council Bordelon the reasons why. So we're going to move on to approval of minutes. Council Parker?
I make a motion to approve the committee of the whole meeting minutes of July 22nd, 2025. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Parker. Seconded by Good. Seeing no hands, we'll take a vote on 2025-713, July 22nd, 2025 minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that passes, yes, 7-0. All right, up next is new business. First item of order is 2025-730, miniature liquor bottle buyback program. This is on page 8 of our packet. There's no motion on this one. Mr. Burt, did you want to talk? Oh, Mr. Hanover's here to discuss this. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Greg Hanover, Director of Public Works. A while back, and I didn't realize time flies, but it was over a year ago, we sat here and discussed a potential buyback program for NIPS bottles. There's a lot of good ideas that went around, and we were asked to go back and take a look at what might work, which we've done, so we're kind of here to bring everybody up to speed and make a recommendation. The first was, potentially a regional program. We did reach out to Dave Aldridge, who's the executive director at SCARA. We met with him, and while he was intrigued and thought the idea was an interesting one, he said that he didn't think the other towns in the region would be willing to give up their NIPS money for such a program. And he also said that, it was mentioned, I think, that we have this potentially program or buyback day at the household hazardous waste days, but he said that those are so busy and they're so overstaffed or understaffed as it is, that it really is not possible to do it during those days. So really the regional aspect of this didn't really seem to pan out too much. We also looked and tried to find if there's any sort of sorting or counting machines for this, but there really is no market for these bottles. So that really the industry hasn't adjusted or made any type of sorting or counting machines for these things. And then we did some testing by weight to see if we could just simply weigh bags of these things, but because of the different materials, they're plastic, glass, they're all different sizes, we couldn't really get any consistent results. So it really led to the only way to count these things to buy them back would be by hand counting or sorting them. And that could be rather tedious and kind of overwhelming if a lot of people came and did this. We would think that it would be staff time, maybe during a weekend day at the transfer station, that would be overtime. Plus these things, even though they're glass and plastic, they really aren't recyclable because of the size of them. They fall through all the equipment that these recycling separation places use. So they end up really going into the waste stream and go to the incinerator. In fact, if you look at some of the websites that I've looked at, they'll even tell you on these, what to do with these things when you're done with them. They say just throw them in your trash. Don't try to recycle them. So we would, even if we took all these things in, we'd still also have to pay to haul and pay for the disposal up at the waste to energy plant, which is about $70 a ton. So looking at this and kind of discussing it with the town manager, we felt that there really didn't seem like it was a viable program that we could really run at this time. So we were recommending not to pursue it any further. But I'd be happy to answer questions and discuss it further.
All right. Well, thank you for looking into that. That was my referral. I thought it was a great idea. And, but I guess there's many other challenges that come along with it. So I thank you for checking into that. We're going to move on to 2025-688, miniature liquor bottle surcharge revenues. This is on begins on page 9 of our packet. There's no motion for this. Mr. Hanover?
The town manager put this together, but.
I can, you want me to?
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, I'll intro it. In 2021, the state passed a law that required a 5-cent surcharge on every miniature liquor bottle, as we were referring to in the last agenda item. The intent of the language for these revenues was clear. All payments received by any municipality shall be expended by such municipality on environmental measures intended to reduce the generation of solid waste in such municipality or reduce the impact of litter caused by such solid waste, including but not limited to the hiring of a recycling coordinator, the installation of storm drain filters designed to block solid waste and beverage container debris, or the purchase of mechanical street sweepers, vacuums, or brooms that removes litter, including but not limited to such beverage containers and other debris from street sidewalks and abutting lawn and turf areas. In fiscal year 2000, actually calendar year 22, just over 79,000 was allocated, split evenly between beautification committee and the town solid waste fund. In 2023, 46,000 and change was split 15% to the city, 42.5% Parks and Rec for solar trash compactors, and 42.5% for Public Works for the mini trash vacuum. There's currently a little 94,500 in allocated funds available. Public Works has put in a request for altogether, 72,000 for solar trash compactors. That'd be 9 of them at 8,000 apiece to replace 55-gallon drum trash and recycling receptacles in downtown Mystic. And we already had a pilot project with 3 of them, correct, Greg? 3 of them, and previously that has gone extremely well. There are 15 locations throughout the downtown where we have trash recycling receptacles. Oh, it is coming up. 3 of these are currently Big Belly units. They performed well. Transition to the Big Bellies would allow 12 remaining units to be reduced down to 9 Big Belly units. They would eventually like to replace 5 drums in Knowing Village also. That'll probably be part of the later Main Street construction project. And then Parks and Rec have put in a request for several of them also. 2 for Quonic Plains Park, 1 for Farquhar, 2 for Sutton Park, 1 for Esker Point Beach, 2 for the pickleball court hockey rink area. Those 8 units would cost $64,000. So together we have requests for $136,000 with only $94,500 available. My recommendation at this time is to split evenly between the 2 departments to get these trash compactors, and then we should get another chunk of money in November. We can readdress needs once we receive those monies. And if Greg, if you want to talk about the usefulness of these in Mystic.
Yeah, as the town manager said, we have 3 of these we put in October of 2023. So it's been almost 2 years now, and they've been performing very well. We've had absolutely no mechanical issues with them. They provide many advantages over the 55-gallon drums that we have down there. One of them is just the aesthetics of them. They just look a lot nicer. Then you can also put artwork on them with a wrap if you so choose to. They also don't have the lids on. The lids that we have on the 55-gallon drums, they get blown off a lot of times and litter starts blowing around. We actually find people go up to them, they'll take the lid off and put in a whole garbage bag full of their household trash just to get rid of it. And then they'll leave the top off and everything starts blowing around. So, the Big Bellies, they have a larger capacity because they do, compact the trash. They also have the ability to be linked via an app to tell us how full they are. Right now, we're picking up trash 3 times a week down there. And then if we have special events, we go more often. But with the app, we might be able to reduce that. We didn't do it with the 3 because it just, we were going to be going down there anyway to do the other 12 locations. So we just didn't do it with those 3. But if we got all of the Big Bellies down there, we would put them all on the app and use that. So, you know, I think they've proven to be very reliable and, you know, I think to keep the place cleaner.
Councilor Bordelon.
Thank you. I think it's great. I know this is something that was brought up a while back. I know I had brought this forward as an idea of the way of using the money at the time, and with the council's support, we were able to move these forward. I've seen these in many other communities before. We had them here. I know New London had them before we did, but even before New London, I used to see them in all the touristy areas that I would go, even on hiking trails and stuff, because it's harder for communities to get down those trails and empty them. So I just think they're, for me, a no-brainer. I think they're a positive investment. I think they fit the philosophy of, you know, helping, you know, make sure that we are thinking greener and protecting our environment. As a person who grew up in Mystic on High Street, I think those cans have been around for quite some time, the blue cans. I know they've been painted over the years.
Yeah.
I wouldn't guess there might be like over 20-something years old, perhaps. I don't even know. They've done their job, but we have grown and outgrown them. And I do think it's a vital investment for down there. When you looked at this weekend with the art festival, you know, I didn't see any of those trash compactors overflowing. They looked well maintained, they're holding up nicely, and you know, you can, you know, artists can rent space on them. Some people have. You can rent advertising on them, I've heard, in other communities I've seen, in different states where people can actually, they have a thing that doesn't ruin the compactor, it sticks up and wraps, or some are magnetic even, but there's ways where people can actually like buy space, like check this out. So, I mean, that's way down the road. I'm fine if the advice of the town manager is to split it up between the departments, but I do think that we do need to put a little more emphasis on the focusing on the downtown Mystic area with the amount of traffic and trash that comes through there. So again, with this round, I'm completely fine with splitting it between the departments, but I think after that, we do need to go back to Mystic and try to complete that. I would love to see Mystic completed in its entirety due to the fact that just the amount of businesses, food purchases, and trash usage there. But I think this is a great initiative, and I thank you for reporting back, and I'm happy to hear. I have heard about the app part. I was looking online and, back when I researched these many years ago, and they were great. They get a little alert, like a little buzz, almost like your Blink camera, like, you know, it lets you know that it's full. So it's great. To me, it's, let's do it. Thanks.
Mr. Burke, can I just ask, so your total, the grand total we have is the $94,569, is that correct?
Yes.
And then Public Works is requesting $72,000, and Parks and Rec is requesting $64,000.
Correct.
So we have to, if we would like to figure out how we would balance that as well, right?
Yes.
Between the two.
Yeah, another option is to finish up Mystic, put the rest towards parks and readdress parks in maybe November.
I'd like to put a motion on the floor. $15,000 for the city of Groton. It's a rounded, I just sort of rounded off on a 15%. $72,000 for Public Works, and the remaining of $7,569 for Parks and Rec.
Second.
Can I make one suggestion?
It's not amended, it's actually the main motion.
That leaves it just so shy for one for Parks and Rec, maybe, I mean, they could probably find it out.
All right, let me see, let me just see what the full 50.
They could probably find another budget. The other option is to take a little out of contingency.
Well, it would be $14,185 for the city if I did a full 15%. I sort of just rounded up. 14,185 minus, 1 second, let me redo the math. All right. I'm going to correct this. Do you remove your second?
Remove my second.
Thank you. The city is $14,185. Public Works would be $72,000, and the remaining of Parks and Rec would get $8,383.
Second.
Point of information,
Your question?
did the city request? 'Cause-
No, but to be fair, I didn't reach out to them.
yeah,
15% of the liquor stores are in the city of Groton.
That is why we did that the first time.
That's why we've done it previously, yes.
point of information,
Your question?
do we know which ones they're replacing? Do we have a plan? Like the other ones, we have a plan, did they receive
For
anything?
Parks and Rec or for city?
For the city?
They don't
We
necessarily
would-
need to, they can use it however they want. They don't have to do trash compactors. It's just money to the city.
Yeah, that's fine.
Point of information.
Your question?
It's money to the city, but it should be for the same use, correct?
For those guidelines, unless you want to restrict it further, I wouldn't,
No.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, per the Public Act 2158, those guidelines pertain to all funds through this.
Thank you.
Right. Counselor Parker?
Just a question, Madam Mayor. Who was the second?
Russ?
Thank you.
Counselor Bordelon?
So if Public Works gets all of that, would that complete the Mystic project is my first question?
That would, yes, that would get rid of all the 55-gallon drums down there. And, you know, unless, and we have had some requests in the past from residents to put some down Pearl and gravel, but that could be in the future.
No, I think that's, I think this is a fair compromise. I think to streamline it, because to me it looks uneven, a little unbalanced down there with the some trash and then those random blue bins. I think, you know, as we're trying to beautify areas and there's a high traffic area, I think making it look cohesive is an attractive model. So I think that's great, and to hear that it would complete that, and then if there is requests for further down, that'd be awesome to hear about and look at in the future. But yeah, I think this is a good compromise. Thank you.
Mayor?
Mr. Byrne?
Just piggybacking, I've had some downtown businesses that say, why did they get one and we didn't get one? So, yeah, some of the businesses are pretty eager to get those replaced out.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Councilman Fried.
I'm in full support of this. Just a question for maybe the future. I'm just trying to understand. It looks like in '22, we got 79,000. '23, we got 46,000. '24, there's only 6,600, but it doesn't say what we spent the money on. So I'm wondering if we can get that detail at the next council
Say
meeting.
it again.
Two questions, I guess. In '22, it looks like we got 79,000.
Right.
'23, it looks like we only got 46,000, so I would question why we only got 46,000. But then in '24, it states we have 66 remaining, but it doesn't say what we used that money for. So I was wondering if you can just provide that at the council, so we have that.
You mean the
In the future.
87 remaining? Those 2 years, the only things we've spent, and it's just the timing of when we brought it forward for what we happen to have at the time. And it's a little hit or miss too. They send a monthly report of what we're gonna get, but we don't always get the revenue at one monthly. Sometimes it comes in chunks, fits and starts. But everything we've spent is on there, and the rest is just money we've received that we haven't spent.
So what did we spend on it in 2024?
Nothing, that's why we have so much right now. And the other build up for a little while, end of 21 into 22. It's just timing on when we brought it to the council, because we haven't been consistent on when it comes.
Okay.
I'm going to just jump in here. In the like, you break down with the bullet points of the 2 bullet points, and then there's a sentence in a second paragraph, and it says there's currently 94,000. It says this comes from $6,609 unallocated from 24, plus the 87 received in 25.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
23 includes
it
half
do-
of 24.
Oh.
That's part of it right there.
That's where the
Yeah.
24
And
is
then
sort of
lateness
missing.
getting payment when we got it, yeah.
24 was
Because
missing.
it's calendar years versus fiscal years.
It's fine. It's not relative to this. It just seems, I can't understand how much we're getting every year. What are we getting every year, like 70,000? Do we know?
It looks like typically anywhere from, right now, I looked at the last couple receipts, I had 12 to 15,000 a month, but we don't always get it, actual revenue, I just get a report now and then.
Right, maybe for future. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, well, seeing no other hands, I guess we're going to take a vote on the motion on the floor, which is $14,185 to the city, $72,000 for Public Works, and the remaining $8,383 to Parks and Rec. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That passes 7-0 to 0. All right, up next is 2025-689 opioid settlement revenue use. This is in our packet on page 11. Thank you, Mr. Hanover. Thank you. Mr. Burt.
As you recall, we've had a recent discussion of the national opioid settlement where the council just approved moving in, entering any other further agreements. Starting in calendar year 22, not fiscal year, the town had, all three times you've authorized funding has been to Community Speaks Out. It was $135,000 in 2022, $152,000 in 23, and $86,000 in 24. And just a reminder, at least 70% of the funds are to be used to fund future opioid remediation efforts. If settlement proceeds are used for something other than opioid remediation, the amounts and uses must be reported, basically, of how you used it. Town currently has an unallocated fund balance from FY25 for $7,143.58. Another $29,286.20 is expected for 25, and then an upcoming 26 payment of $30,497. So basically a total through a very soon to be received payment of total $66,927. So just under $67,000. And the amounts could be higher, but that's all the information we have at this point. It's not a set amount. We don't always get notice of these things. It's, there's a bunch of different settlements and it varies wildly on what we get. But that's the finance director's best guess. So we have requests both from Community Speaks Out as well as Legislate for funding for their programs. And again, there's just under 67,000 available.
All right, I mean, we've had this discussion in the past, previous councils, and how we have basically given most all of this money to Community Speaks Out, because I will speak for myself, the rationale was they are Groton, they serve our Groton population, they are a volunteer organization who does not actually have a payroll. So all the money that goes to them typically goes to our community members who are in need. It has been stated before, and I'll reiterate, this is money that should not, in my opinion, be used to offset our budget in any manner of the way. This should be used for the people that need it the most in our community, because this money is only being received by our community because there were so many deaths from opioids. And the reason we get so much money is because our community has had a lot of prescriptions issued within Groton. And that is how the money is based off of. I am also in support of giving money to GASP as well, because GASP does, which is part of Legislate Health District. They have in the past said that they were all set, but this year they are saying they could use some funding to help with some of their, I mean, they wrote us a letter here, and they said they could use it in response to the overdose crisis. And what we have done in the past was we actually set it for a 3-year interval, that when we put the money out there, where it should go. So I think this year we should try and do the same thing. I would, because I'm going to put a motion on the floor that 20% of the funding would go to GASP, 80% would go to Community Speaks Out. And I would ask that this would be for the next 3 years. And as we know, it is not set in stone. Any future council can come and change it as they would like to, but it also sets the tone from this council of where we think money should go in the future, and other future councils can make changes if they so saw fit.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, open it up for questions or comments. Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. So I've been asking, and I asked in many years past, that we open this up and have a post for proper ways for other agencies to apply. Has that happened?
No,
Okay.
that's entirely
This-
to the council.
Any other time that this was, before it was coming, I asked, can this be an agenda item where we could put names out of places or, you know, other communities, I've seen them actually use their Facebook, social media, their town page, post that these funds are coming. They didn't say the amount, but they said we're open to applications, and they sent like a one-page thing in for a request, and we put the all call out there. As a person who's worked in this field a little bit in my past, volunteering mainly, I'm in full support, obviously, the money comes from our community, as it was stated. But I can tell you that no recovery program only supports the people in their own town. So if I had an addiction problem tonight and needed a space, if Community Speaks Out doesn't have an opportunity, I'd be going over SCAD, I might be going to Life Happens, I could be going over to Alliance for Living. It all depends on your addiction. Alliance for Living works with people who have had HIV or AIDS and needle use problems. So that's the only program similar to that that's over in New London. SCAD also. And not everyone that Community Speaks Out, they don't service only Groton residents. It's the location of the program, but it's not depicted upon who they serve. So with that, which I'm fine with, that doesn't change the mission or what they do. So that to me doesn't change the value of any of the other programs. And I just always would ask for fair and equal access and making sure that we're opening it up to everyone for a fair chance to apply. We might not get anybody else that applies, but that's what I'd ask. And when I'd asked before, they said, wait until it's an agenda item. We'll make it an agenda item. We have to discuss it. This is what we said last year or the previous years, and that has not come to fruition. So my thought is, can we at least start there? Can we at least get a post up letting folks know there might be other Groton agencies that we're not aware of? Fellowship House Ministries is another program that's been around in Groton. It's a home that people who are coming out of incarceration, which also the money states it can be used for as well, that are maybe had an addiction problem prior to, and they come to that home, they could use funding, and they are housed in Groton. Again, they don't serve just Groton residents, they serve anybody that applies to get in there, but they're housed in Groton, just like Community Speaks Out. Like I said, Alliance for Living, SCAD, and again, I'll take my next term after. When addiction occurs, where I used to work with inner city women in Worcester, Massachusetts, where I went to college as a volunteer in the criminal justice program, and I was working in a probation office and helping people with outreach with addiction problems. When addiction happens, it's a matter of where is there a bed at that time, and most people, I've had friends that had children that had addiction problems from that I've known over the years, their kids are sometimes shipped to Texas, even as far as Colorado. It's where an open bed can come. So their money is being used to treat Groton residents as well. And I'll take my next time after.
Counselor Good?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm a lot more familiar with Community Speaks Out than GAS, but I just want to state that this money isn't enough for the damage that's been caused to our community. And I'm fully behind your proposal to keep Community Speaks Out funded as much as possible. And I stand behind it 100%. Thank you.
Counselor Rusk?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to start with saying I appreciate Councilor Bordelon's thought on reaching out to the community. Sorry, there are a lot of agencies that could potentially use this that we may not be looking at. So I don't have a problem with that, but I do want to correct that this is not for people coming out of the DOC. That is the cannabis tax, just for a point of clarification on that one. So if we have any other agencies, have we ever identified any other agencies in our community that are interested in this money?
We had this discussion last year, actually the year before, and we asked counselors to bring anybody forward. Because this is a decision of the council, and it is our choosing as to where we put this money, and we have asked other counselors in the past to bring forward, and that has not happened.
Okay. And I know Carolyn Wilson is here from GASP. Could we ask her to come forward and talk about what she might be interested in using the money for and how much money she actually needs, since we have...
I think Caroline is here. I don't think we had invited her, nor Community Speaks Out, to show up tonight. I think she's just in the audience as to support. Is that correct, Mr. Burke? Did we invite them, or are they just here?
They're just here. I saw
Thank
the health department director, and she said that Carolyn was likely going. She goes, I don't think you'll likely get called on, but it doesn't hurt to be there, just in case.
I guess my question is, how much do they need? And without knowing that amount, I would rather know more than know less. And I would love to know how much they need.
Well, we can take a consensus of the council. Would we like to invite Carolyn Wilson from GASP, Legislative Health District, up to answer questions?
Point of information?
Councilor Parker?
It's fine.
Yes? Councilor Good?
Yes, I'd like to.
McBride?
I would like them both to be here myself.
Well, we didn't do an invitation.
I would say yes, but I'll speak later, yes.
I know, I understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
Councilor Rusk?
Yes. Well,
Councilor
actually, yeah.
Councilor Bordelon?
I just have a
Yes or no?
clarifying question first before I answer.
Your clarifying question?
I have no problem with anybody speaking, this wasn't put out as a platform.
Your question? What is your clarifying question?
So by allowing them to speak, it's not fair to other agencies, I think it needs
That's,
to be open.
I need a question now.
So I'm going to abstain from the vote.
Okay.
Just because I
Councilor
think
Jones?
this is enough.
Yes.
Excuse me, to say that this is a mess is out of order. You are out of order again.
Thanks.
Yes. Caroline Wilson, would you like to come up to the table to answer some questions about GASP and Legislative Health District, please?
Madam Mayor, before she speaks,
Councilor Parker?
I just wanted to ask if Councilor Russ was done with her time, because she still has a minute.
No, I think she's going to ask some questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Hi, Carolyn.
Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Carolyn Wilson. I'm a Senior Health Program Coordinator at Legislative Health District, and I'm the coordinator for the Groton Alliance for Substance Use Prevention.
Would you like to give a synopsis of what you do for GASP and Groton before questions begin?
Sure. So I have served as the assistant and then lead coordinator for GASP for 15 years. And we are the local prevention council that serves the town of Groton. GASP has been in existence for 26 years now. And I've been a part of it for, as I mentioned, the past 15.
So I'm going to do a real quick disclaimer that I work with Legislative Health District with my job, but not with GASP in any way, shape, or form. So there's not a conflict of interest in any way. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming up. Can you tell me where you get your funding from? And then just a follow-up question as to how much funding you are seeking for this and where that money would go to.
Sure. So to speak about GASP specifically, we are funded by competitive grants. We are currently funded by the PCC grant from DEMAS that allows us to focus on underage drinking prevention in Groton. We also receive a little bit of funding from some other sources as well, again through grants. We have a grant from CRAC, Southeastern Regional Action Council, small one, to work on vaping prevention. And then we also have a little bit of state opioid response grant money, and also a little bit of funding from the Governor's Prevention Partnership that currently is funding our work. Yes, that's primarily it.
So how much money are you seeking to get from this, and what would it be used for?
So tonight, I wasn't specifically prepared to talk facts and figures. I wasn't sure what was going to be discussed tonight or if any decisions were going to be made. I will defer to the letter, the correspondence sent from the Director of Health about expressing an interest in discussing opportunities to activate funding that would benefit Groton through both the NLC CARES program and GASP.
Okay. I'm going to say at this time, I would like to get more information before I'm comfortable voting tonight.
Any other questions? Councilor McBride?
I just want to state, thank you for coming out. And I also agree with Councilor Rusk. I would like to receive some more information. It sounds like 70% of your funds are for future opioid remediation efforts. And that's one of the requirements. And I would like Community Speaks Out to be here as well to answer some questions. I like Councilor Portolano's idea about opening it up. I don't know if there's enough time for that at this point, but if we could maybe table this to a future agenda and have both of these individuals come up and maybe offer the ability of anyone else to come and present 3 minutes on their place, so we could do that. But if not, at least have the two options that are here so we can hear and ask questions. And I think it's in fairness to both of them. My other question, I brought this up in the past, is I'm not a big fan of appropriating money that we haven't received yet. So I have a tough time. I see the 7,000, but for us to appropriate money that we haven't received, I think is a bad precedent, because you could do that for many things. The next thing you know, we're appropriating money that we don't have. So I'm not a fan of that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to approve that motion when and if it comes forward, but I do think more information is needed before I vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Did you have something?
Those numbers are based on reports Dee received, so we're gonna at least get that amount. And there should be an any day now kind of thing.
No, I understand. I
Yeah,
received
yeah.
the report.
And we know we're gonna get them, yeah.
No, I appreciate that. I
By the
understand.
time we're through, we should have them.
Well, I would just like to say that 20% of no matter what you get is 20%. And 80% of no matter what you get is 80%. And if we get nothing, 80% of nothing is nothing. So it depends on what we receive. I think you do, from what I've seen of GASP, you do a lot of work in the school systems and with prevention, trying to get it so that kids don't fall into these traps of substance abuse. That's where I'm saying 20%, because if it's 20% of anything, it's more than what you have now, and it's more programs or more that you can offer the students in the school systems. So that's why I'm thinking this is wonderful, because your programs are still going to be there whether you get the money or not. This is the money that you can do more with. That's what I'm thinking. This is more to help with the prevention with our students in the school system, and I am all for that. Community Speaks Out. They have come here. They have spoken to us. I think most everybody on this council understands Community Speaks Out. We have, many of the people on this council have been here before, and it has been said over and over again, if you have an organization and if you think money should go to these organizations, bring them to the council. I just don't see anybody bringing it to the council. I mean, we as councilors have work to do too. I mean, we don't leave everything on the town staff to do all the work for us. It is our job to do some of this ourselves. I have done extensive research on this within the community to see who is in Groton, what do they offer. I am comfortable with the 20% going to GASP, 80% going to Community Speaks Out. If the 3 years is more, 2 of those years would be symbolic. That is basically sending a future council a message. They can change at any time. And what we have right now, the 20 to 80% could go to these organizations, and that would be whatever money we receive this year would definitely go to them. So I look for the support of the council. This is not unusual. This has been done before. And I think it would be very good if we just took care of this. And I don't know what more there is to discuss to have for future meetings on. So I'll stop with that. Counselor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you for the representative from GASP that's coming. I'm basically fine with the split of the 2080. I'm also fine with getting a little bit more information, just hearing sort of an update from Community Speaks Out and what they've done. I've been to their building and their opening and looked at their programs, and they've done tremendous with the money that we have given them. It's amazing how they have done, access their volunteers and put everything forward, and have had some tremendous success with building out a great center for all of their services. I have a question through the mayor, I think to the town manager. If I remember from maybe the previous council, that these funds needed to be kept inside of Groton to Groton organizations, and at the time, Community Speaks Out was the only organization that we had at the time, where the other ones are funded from other sources and do other places. Am I correct on that?
That is not a requirement.
No, it's not a
That was
requirement.
maybe an established thought process of council members, but it is not a requirement.
Was it? Okay, I remember that it needed to be, in order, one of the reasons we did Community Speaks Out is they were the only opioid-focused organization that was in the town. Am I mistaken on that?
From my understanding, they are the only one in the town of Groton. Although there are other substance abuse facilities, they are not nonprofits run by volunteers. There are for-profit businesses. There are some other organizations, but they are they may get other fundings from other sources.
Mayor.
It was a, I will say, I'll speak for myself. There was a criteria that I held for myself on how I would like to apply the money and which organizations would get it, depending on a certain criteria that I came up with, that also fit the criteria for the state, as well as additional. Mr. Burt has something to jump in. He's trying to jump in.
I just wanted to mention, in terms of having Community Speaks Out, give an update. They were just here February 25th and gave a pretty thorough update. You might just want to rewatch the update.
They have, you're correct, they were here. Thank you. And they also have a letter within our packet that was sent.
Okay, all right, so I'm fine. Is this a motion that's on the floor, or was just
It's a motion on the floor.
recommendation?
It's a motion on the floor.
Okay, all right, so I'm in favor. I'm fine with that motion on the floor then. Thank you.
Yeah. Council Bordelon.
I think Councilor Russ there has authority.
You're fine, go ahead.
Council Bordelon.
I'm sorry?
Council Bordelon.
You sure? Okay. Again, there's been no proper platform. Yes, it was stated, and they've said, I don't write the agenda. So therefore, it was stated that when this agenda kind of comes up, we can discuss how we wanted to allocate the funds, or if there would be an application process or an all-call. And all I'm asking is a simple Facebook post, community post, something on the town page saying we have these funds and people can contact us organically, a process in which we can send people to ask. It's great that we have GASP here and that we have Community Speaks Out that are interested, but I don't think the other people have been brought on board. And I think that's my request, is that there's a simple post, and there is time, because we're not going to ratify this for quite so many weeks. So I think that had there been an email, again, I don't control the agenda, that said, hey, counselors, please submit your ideas, and we will reach out to town staff to have them contact these agencies. That has not happened. So that platform. So I aligned some of my remarks with Councilor Russ and Councilor McBride in the sense that, anyway, I'll speak for myself because I don't want to quote them particularly. For myself is, I just want to make sure there's not something else. And in response to Councilor Russ's response about the incarceration, what I was referring to, I apologize, is the Fellowship House Ministries, which were former incarcerated individuals that kind of go there, that may have had addiction problems. So they would fall within that purview of both, actually, in a way. So there's Life Happens, SCAD, again, Groton, Community Speaks Out doesn't serve just Groton residents. Anybody from any town that calls, they service. It's not just Groton. Just like SCAD is not just New London. Just like Alliance for Living is just not New London. That program only exists there, and theirs really focused on HIV and different other avenues of needle use and all the other things that kind of go with that program. That's a little different than Community Speaks Out. And so I think it's only fair if we've already given the other agencies. We did not give GASP any money yet. And again, thank you for being here. I think you're a phenomenal program. You were one of the ones that I verbally brought out in the last meeting as an example of an agency. So with that, I'm just asking that we open it up. And so with that, I ask that we, maybe table this, and through the mayor to the town manager or however, what would that process look like? Because it hasn't been presented us on how to move forward. You say that we could bring them forward, so do we do that now? And then maybe we do a post, or how would you like that to go? Because we haven't gotten any emails about sending forward names for tonight. We get the agenda on Thursday night and it was on here. That's how I know. So I'm just asking for that. That's my question.
Your question is what?
So how do we move forward so everyone has a chance to present names, to be reached out to have a fair opportunity to present?
But you were supposed to reach out to them.
I have reached out to these other ones, but that we didn't get the agenda till Thursday.
Thank
So,
you.
Can I,
Counselor Rusk?
I would like my question answered, please.
I just answered it. You asked how would they be reached out to. I said you should reach out to them.
How would I know when the agenda item was coming?
It was on our list of where the agenda, what was coming on the future agendas.
But how would I give them a date if it didn't come out until Thursday?
They could have reached
I didn't
out.
get- That's not how
Counselor
we normally
Rusk.
do it.
So I 100% support both of these programs. I want to make sure that that is well established. I guess my only question is, how much money does GASP need? Because without knowing that, we don't know if we're giving them too much, too little. Like, can you use $10,000? Can you use $5,000? That would be my main holdup here. And that's the only reason why I'm really asking to pause this for a moment. So Carolyn, is that okay?
It's your time.
Okay.
So thank you. I think we would love an opportunity, both GASP and NLC Cares, to make a presentation about what we do, how we do it, and what we could do with activating some of the funds. So everyone's clear on where it would go, how it would be spent.
So it's not table, it's the motion. What is our next committee of the whole date?
26th.
The 26th. So I make a motion to move this to the 26th. I'm sorry, you said 26th? Postpone.
Yes.
Postpone this until the 26th. Thank you, Council.
Second.
At which point, perhaps GASP can give us a little bit more information on what they need, and then we can make a proper designation of funds.
Point of information?
Are you finished with your time?
Yes.
Yeah. Your question?
At that time, then, could we invite other agencies to come then on the 26th to present?
You can present what you'd like, yeah. And if this council agrees, then they can speak, yes.
So I'll just ask other agencies to come. I'll make some posts then. All right, so the 26 agencies could come to try to speak in response to the monies. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Councilman Bryan?
I agree with Councilor Rusk. I'm in support of both of these organizations, but I think more time is needed. But I'm really thinking, and I think I mentioned this a year or two ago when we talked about it. I'm looking at these agenda items for tonight's meeting, and these are all budget items. Why can't we incorporate this in the budget process?
These are not actually budget items.
But they could be budget items. If you know the 05 and the 06 amounts, you bring it into the budget as part of the budget. We invite people to come just like we do all these other organizations. Why do we have these one-offs when we bring people in and not discuss them in whole? I mean, these could be, I don't know why these aren't budget items. It's just like any other revenue stream that we track as a budget. So I would just think we should look at that, instead of doing these one-offs, include it in the budget process, like we do all the ones with, like Town Manager Burke gave us tonight. So I will support the motion to table, but I think we should, I mean, maybe not now, but I think in next year's budget, these should all be part of the budget process, and they shouldn't be one-offs done. It should be part of the public budgeting process. Thank you.
Point of clarification.
The question?
I just want to make sure for, through you to Councilor McBride, it's not table postpone, right? We're postponing. Was
The motion on the floor is to
Oh, I
postpone.
want to make sure I'm clear. Okay, thank you.
Council Parker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In response to Councilor McBride's request to have this as a budget item, this is not our money. This is money that's settlement money that's coming in from the state and the federal government in certain areas. The same thing we do for grants. So my question would be, are we going to do the grants the same way? The budget items coming from, the budget money that we have is coming from the taxpayers' money. It's two separate accounts, and I don't think you can cross it, if I'm remembering correctly. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but if Mr. Burke could find out for me through you, if Mr. Burke can talk to Ms. Morrison about it, just to make sure that we're doing it properly, and
Mr.
we don't-
Burke's ready to jump in.
Okay, I'll pause.
You know, I'm more comfortable budgeting in the budget, like on the next item, where it's more of a stable amount with like the TC, whatever it is, THC, cannabis dollars, where we know it's kind of set. With opioids, if you look, there's at least 20, you know, probably 20 companies involved in this. One pays for only 3 years. Like another year or two into this, it's gonna start jumping around a lot more than it has. So I would only want to budget money we know we have in hand. I don't want to take a guess in advance. We could just hold it, whatever we had at the time of the budget, here's what we have, and, you know, yeah. But I don't want to guess for the upcoming year.
Agreed.
Council Parker, your time is still continuing if you'd like.
Thank you. So, through you to Mr. Burke, you want to hold the monies and then put it within our budget to figure it out?
I'm not recommending anything, I'm just saying, I just wouldn't want to budget in advance for the funds. I would only want to, you know, I'm fine with this, whatever the council wants. I'm not recommending anything. There's, you know, certainly a way, though, it could be incorporated into a budget. I'm not as inclined with the volatile revenue source as I would be with more of us. We know the NIPS are probably, unless the shop closes, are going to be kind of stable for a while. So anything could be budgeted as part of the budget. It just, I don't know if it makes as much sense on this one.
Again, could we have Ms. Morrison have that topic and discuss that and bring that to us? Because I'd rather not have this, as you said, this money changes. So doesn't the NIPS money. So it's not a specific amount every year. It's a certain percentage we're going to do, and we don't know that percentage, and how would we figure that into the budget? Back to the topic at hand. I agree with everyone to postpone this. Part two of that is, yes, maybe an application process, similar to what we did for the ARPA funding. Just a thought, but I'm going to say that for a couple of things on the agenda tonight. Yes, we've known about this. It was coming. It's on the back of our open agenda items. We just, each time there's a date of when we're going to potentially do items. But yes, there are other companies, other businesses that could use the money. So anytime that we can do stuff to bring it forward or reach out, I'm still trying to figure out, how did GAS find out? How did Community Speaks Out find out?
Only because they had seen the generic, or we had a recent one, opioid settlement 2. They saw the opioid settlement 2, realized, maybe this now is a good time to reach out about money. It was just triggered by that. I didn't reach out to them or anything, so.
Okay. So, again, people are paying attention to what's going on, so they know it's coming out. So it's a catch, it's between us reaching out and them finding out when the money's going to be settled. And I'll just talk about the motion. I'll wait to postpone because I want to talk about the main motion later on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I, if you do decide to invite others, I would say refer them to me so we can make sure they're incorporated into the budget. or into the agenda item.
Point of clarification.
Your question?
Through the mayor to the town manager, is there like a one-sheet thing that you want to give me that I should email to people? That way it comes directly to you?
This is a council decision. This is counselors bringing things forward. This is not a town
No,
looking for people. This is us looking for people.
I already have a line of them, but he said make sure they're directed to him. I didn't know if he wanted to give
Send
me
an
just,
email.
I can send an email, but I didn't know if he had something in particular he wanted me to send, just was asking.
I would prefer if the council would just give me the contact info if you think someone's relevant, and then I'll send
See?
out the email.
Okay, perfect, all right.
See.
Thank you.
Counselor Good.
I just want to say that I'm still in favor. We've seen the good work that Community Speaks Out has done over the years and how well they've handled the funds and really put them back into what's really needed in Groton, which is help. And I have no problem with the split. As Madam Mayor said, we could change it next year if more people come out and we have a better idea of these other agencies. So I'm going to vote against the motion to postpone this. Thank you.
Thank you. It's always this type of money that has, us talking and having the longest debates. I would say that there is also state opioid money that other agencies can apply for that as well. There is a lot more money and their pockets are way deeper than our local money. I am in favor of, I will say, if you are in Groton, doing business right here in Groton for us, you will be number one on my list. If you are in New London, and yes, you may take care of some Groton people, I'm sorry, but the Groton organizations are number one on my list. That's just where I stand on this matter. I am not in favor of postponing. I think we've had this discussion. Every time this comes up, it is a long, long discussion, and the same arguments come up every single time. I, many years ago, had reached out to Carolyn Wilson and talked about this at the time as well. I also reached out to Community Speaks Out. I also reached out to other agencies. I did my homework. I had talked to them. And I brought forward what I thought was a good motion. I have this motion on the floor. We could sit here, honestly, we could talk about this for the next, till November, till Election Day. Honestly, the way, I would be good voting for tonight. I really would. We know what's in our community. We are very active people in our community. We understand what's going on in our community, what the organizations are that help the people in our community. So I don't know what continuing the discussion is going to help us with. As was said, GASP has the money to do the programs they are doing now. With the additional money, they will be able to do more. They will be able to do more with prevention, and that's where it starts. So, and that would be 20%, and Community Speaks Out would get 80. I did not hear other counselors bringing a presentation forward for another organization and saying that they have talked to them and that they had all this information and this is what they're asking for. This is how we've done it year after year after year. So the motion on the floor is to postpone, made by Rusk, seconded by Parker, to 8/26. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions?
Aye.
Just a reminder, when you have someone on Zoom, it has to be a roll call per
Yeah,
FOIA.
hold on just a moment. Do I do a roll call with everybody, or just can I ask Counselor
I think
Jones?
it'd be sufficient to ask.
I saw Counselor Jones raised his
Okay,
hand.
that's fine.
He actually raised his hand. Counselor Jones, you are in favor, is that correct?
In favor of postponing, yes.
Thank you. The postponing passes 5 to 2 to 1. All right.
Excuse me,
And
Madam
is
Mayor.
the direction to me for counselors to provide me other people to come?
They
speak?
can.
Okay. I would need it by Friday, please, any names you have.
Thank you.
Because
Thank
we
you,
put
Carolyn,
these
for
out next
coming.
week. Yeah.
I have a list, yeah.
Madam Mayor.
And you will have to also, I guess Carolyn will be invited back and as well as Community Speaks Out.
Yes.
So, up
Madam
next is
Madam Mayor, point of
Council Parker.
Can you announce what time Council Merritt came in, please?
Yes, I wrote it down. Councilor Merritt arrived at 7:43 PM. All right, a minute, just a moment, I'm gonna write a note here. Ooh, it's a bad eraser. All right, up next is the cannabis tax revenues.
You want me to go ahead?
This is in our packet on page 15. It's 2025-687 cannabis tax revenues. Mr. Burt, did you want to discuss this one?
Sure. Connecticut Public Act 21-1 allows for the sale of recreational cannabis and stipulates the collection of a 3% municipal tax on sales to be given to the local municipality. Funds received from the municipal tax uses include one, streetscape improvements and other neighborhood development in communities where cannabis retailer, hybrid retailers, or micro cultivators are located. Two, educational programs or youth employment and training programs in the municipality. Three, services for individuals living in the municipality who were released from DOC custody. Four, mental health or addiction services. Five, youth service bureaus and municipal juvenile review boards. And six, community civic engagement efforts, which is fairly broad. The town had previously awarded $100,000 in funding to Community Speaks Out and $53,250.54 to Always Home, which did have the stipulation they had to be used solely for Groton residents. We've received, essentially through what we've been building, we'll be receiving soon. The total is a little over $195,000. One of the ideas that's come up previously is, could these funds be utilized to offset some of the health and service agencies budgeted funds? And I was asked earlier, do you want me to bring up?
Yes, please, I had requested that you pull up the budget items for outside agencies that we have already had vetted.
This is the first page that I pulled up on mine. This is out of our adopted current budget, page 180. This is our main cost centers for health and service agencies. Things like Ledgelight, VNA, which is mostly gone now, Groton Ambulance Service Agencies, which is more broad. I'll touch on that in a second. Marine Sewage Disposal, Mystic River Ambulance, Mystic No Ink Library, Bill Memorial Library, and then on page 181 is our outside agencies. There's a slew of them, like Thames River Heritage Park, New London Homeless Hospitality, a lot of different nonprofits in there. Now, one of the ideas that had been thrown out earlier was maybe the outside libraries could benefit from this funding, have them, rather than using tax dollars, use these incoming funds. Looking at the current budget, the Mystic No Ink Library's budget at $180,600, while Bill Memorial Library's budget at $68,250. One thing you could do is consider dedicating funding to the two libraries for whatever funding we receive at a prorate, the same proration. And let's see. So total those come over the amount we have right now, the $195,000. If you total those, so it would not fully support those. So we'd still have to look at alternative tax on their funding, but it would greatly offset it. But this same thing could be done with any of the service agencies if you wanted to. So just throwing this out to the council for discussion.
Thank you. I'm just going to speak on this real quick, that the outside agencies was brought forward because the thought process was we could also give money to the outside agencies, keep their budget flat. So this would help keep their budget flat. Not so many debates, very in-depth debates in budget sessions, because this is the longest debated item, but rather we could give them additional monies to help offset some of that. When it comes to the libraries, there is a referral in to try and come up with a fair and balanced funding process, which is not part of this discussion, but during other business, I would like to, please do not adjourn the meeting, because during other business, I have something that I would like to bring up about that with the libraries. So I'll open it up to questions. Councilor Bordelon.
Thank you. I think this is a great opportunity to look at all of it, and one of the ideas and thoughts that I had, the education program for youth employment and training programs. I know that Fitch High School is opening up the pipeline system for the EB program that they're trying to kick off. Again, I'm not saying all of this money, but even a modest 5,000 or 6,000 or something, you know, to say that we support that, because those are our youth, Groton youth. Also, another program would be the ROTC program at Fitch, which also is a training program, which is got young youth, men and women. And if you do your research on ROTC program for kids that are even wanting to serve the country, as far as, you know, dedicating, you know, going through that rigorous program, boot camp, what have you. But for some kids, it's a rite of passage. Maybe they come from broken homes or families where they don't have equal for access, and this opens up doors and it minimizes their impact, and, you know, puts them in a program, because the military has a zero drug tolerance. They don't even recognize cannabis. It's a very rigorous program, and I just think it's an asset to the town of Groton. It's a newer program in the town of Groton, and I think, again, I'm not saying all of this money, but if we modestly gave $2,000, might help offset the cost of uniforms, to maybe help grow their program, or even $5,000, just something to show, because it can go to a youth program. Those are some ideas that I thought about. Obviously, the bigger outside agencies, I don't think we just have to rip it all and put it into that, but I really think when we talk about homegrown base, let's look at our programs up at Fitch High School, and I think that engineer, I don't know if it's fully called the EB program, as well as the ROTC come to mind, that gets youth in a training pipeline, which diminishes their exposure to drugs and alcohol, and it is a career path and helps with mental stability and gives them a purpose and a being. So I would like to consider that as well, right in our school district. And we have a retired Mr. Hinkle, who runs that program up there, retired military personnel. Anyway, those are the types of things I was thinking of. Obviously, you know, there's room for Community Speaks Out, possibly GASP, and many other programs, but I don't think it's an all or nothing. And I think those smaller programs, those smaller youth programs, they would benefit from even $1,000. It would be huge. So those are some of the thoughts and mindsets, because the cost of the ROTC uniforms are very expensive, and then the things they need for the EB program can be quite expensive as well, and there may be some other programs that I'm not even currently thinking of at this moment. I do like looking at some of the outside agencies as well. Maybe it won't be at the full funding, but maybe it could be parceled out. Maybe we might diminish that by 50% or 25%. But again, ROTC program and the engineering program, because not every kid is going to go to college.
Mayor,
Mr. Burke?
just a reminder, if it's an actual school program, it must be built into their budget request. It can't be separated like this. So only if it was a standalone, someone else is giving the program at the school, another agency, then it could be incorporated, but otherwise it would be part of the school request.
Thank you. Councilor Rusk, did you have your hand up?
No, I'm sorry, but can I get a point of clarification?
Your question?
So neither of these, the ROTC or the education EB pipeline, could be utilized for this program?
No, you would not do it. You would do it part of the full. It's really strict on how they make their budget requests each year. It's one request from them, has to be incorporated into their budget, and it really wouldn't make sense to try to flag these for that.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Point of clarification?
Your question?
So it can't be done, or can it be done? It just have to be done
I don't
differently?
think it can be done.
Can you
I don't
get
think-
clarification on that for me,
Sure.
please? Because that'd be helpful. Because what I read, it didn't seem as if, I mean, but it's very vague. I can also contact the program as well. Is there any way you can bring that to us?
Yeah, I can almost guarantee you it has to be part of their budget, but if it's a separate entity giving it, then it could be budget. You know, is there another organization providing the service at the schools?
When you say it's a part of their budget, can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Like
Yeah.
ROTC is in their budget.
Yeah, if it
You
isn't
cannot
an
pull it out of
educational
their-
budget item, is it something that flows through them? If so, it needs to go into the request annually.
But we couldn't, like, as we couldn't consider taking part
You're
of this money to
increasing the
fund
school
that?
budget. That would be increasing the school budget.
All right.
Do you have any more questions? Councilor McBride?
I guess I'm just wondering, can't we consider doing the same thing here as we did on the previous one and bring agencies forward on the 26th? Or maybe even, and maybe this question for Town Manager Burt is, can we possibly, I'm just making a suggestion, put 50% of these funds for outside agencies that are not in the budget, such as Community Speaks Out, Always Home, and then could we take 50% and earmark it, if the council wanted to, in next year's budget as part of the budget process? Because isn't that what we're doing here? We're helping them out.
Council could do whatever you like, right?
Okay. But back to Councilor Parker's point about not having the funding and so forth. If we know the funding's there, it could be a revenue stream in next year's budget and be considered when we look at all these next year. Like to do it now.
That was the intent. Well, yeah. So you want to do it after, like, delayed, keep this until we know
Yeah, I'm just
whatever's
wondering if-
available going into the next budget, not spend this year?
Yeah, I'm just questioning if we spend all this time on this, and then we go through all this again in detail during the budget, why wouldn't we incorporate the money that we know as part of a revenue stream in next year's budget? So when we're talking about all these different agencies,
I think that's the intent.
The
for
intent
this
is to
go
keep-
ongoing.
I will say, speaking for myself, if you don't mind me jumping
No.
in, my intent is to look at these other budget items here, to keep it during the budget session flat. Just keep them flat, that they don't increase. But if we want to give them increases in their budget or anything else, we can do it here. We don't have to do it during our budget, we can do it here. Like we gave Always Home additional money. Then we had the discussion here about this. I will say, I'm not in favor of adding it to the budget because I think it will add a whole nother dynamic to this. And I'm gonna tell you, if you've been around for a long time, this is the part of the budget we talk the most about and the longest. And if you're talking about bringing people in and talking, we already know who these people are. And if you have a question of what they do, that's one thing, just ask Mr. Burt. But I don't think although it seems like a lot of money, this is from 25 and estimated total of $195,000. While it might seem like a lot of money to average Joe citizen, in the big scheme of things, and you divide it up between these people, it's not a lot of money. So if we're gonna give money to help them, like we did for Always Home, to keep people housed in their home, and they did really good stuff for us, our community, that helped them. They're not gonna ask for an increase because we helped them. We gave them the additional extra money. They didn't ask for an increase. So the thing is, basically, stay flat in our budget. We'll figure out some other things here.
no, I see your point. I think I take a different approach, that these are really just additional budgeted funds that could be used during the budget process, but I understand your point.
Do you want to just put it in the general fund and it'll just help offset that budget? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I think it can be brought up when these items are discussed. It just seems like these are one-offs that we're doing.
But that money has to be used for very specific things. It can't just be general fund money. That's why they're separate. Like some of these on our list, probably we might not be able to use them. I don't know how we would fit, like, and I'm just gonna pick them out. Let's just say Gemma Moran. We may or may not be able to fit them into community civic engagement efforts. Maybe we could. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, it has the criteria of the 5 items here, what it can and cannot do. We might be able to, we may not.
So I guess back to my original question. Is the purpose of tonight to try to allocate this 195 to all of these organizations without a thorough process of discussing with them? That's
Well,
what-
do you have a suggestion on how to do it then? Or how you would
I-
like this done?
Yeah, that's why I was suggesting I think it should be done during the budget process, when you're discussing with all these people. Because now we're just allocating money that comes in. I don't know. I'm good for questions right now. It's a little
We know
confusing.
what they do, though. We do know what they do. Counselor Parker?
Again, my thought, application process, delay this, have people fill it in, vote on it later. Because the tax revenue is something totally different from us using as a budget item. My concern is, are we doing this properly under the Connecticut Public Act of 21-1, that we can put it into our budget planning? That's all I need to know, and make sure that everything that Connecticut State doesn't say, you can't use these funds that way, without us getting in trouble and not getting the funds again.
Mr. Burt?
I
I'm
just-
sorry, Mr. Burt's jumping in.
Go ahead.
I'll wait. I thought.
Go
I was gonna
ahead.
jump.
No.
Yeah, I could certainly double check that, but I don't see how it would be any different than pilot dollars, any grant source pilot dollars, anything else. My intent here was to build it into the budget, not to just dole out money right away, but
Okay, I'm going to finish my time. But are we going to get the same amount through you to Mr. Byrd? Are we going to get the same amount or approximate amount? Because we're not going to know that until now, and then hold it until March, April, and May is the question.
you could, one, hold it and budget what you actually have. The other is to, it's pretty stable. You could estimate what you're going to get in the upcoming year. For instance, there's certain grants we get routinely. We budget in our, no, you're going to want to make sure whatever you put it towards does fit these categories. Obviously, you're going to have a policy that this is where we're putting these dollars to make it very clear what you're doing, just like you did with the, ambulances or fire. But otherwise, you would take your best guess. Like with some of our grants, they can come in less than we thought originally, because, it's pretty stable from the state, all of a sudden it drops a little. Well, we just missed that bit of revenue, and we're making it up out of, the rest of the tax dollars.
So are we going to consider this tax revenue a pilot instead? And just have it as a set, but I can see where you're going with it, but my problem with that is, like you said, we don't know what the dollar amounts are going to be. It could fluctuate. And then the people who are making these requests are not going to get their money, where we've already budgeted to a degree what we're going to give out. So are we taking this whole entire line, all these line items out, the ones that fit this criteria, and making those a separate agency line item something? Again, I would like Ms. Morrison to double check on how that could be possible. So I'm going to make a motion to postpone this agenda item
Second.
till 8:26 for further discussion.
Second.
For the reason of asking Ms. Morrison how this could be possible, and to ensure that we are not going to mess up Public Act 21-1, to ensure that we're doing everything properly as a town. Especially since we want to take the tax revenue and put it somewhere else. Thank you.
Counselor Borland?
Thank you. The other thing is, when I was researching this, the other thing, community civic engagement efforts, that can be defined, Is there more hard, I did find some, but I want to make sure I have the right one. Can we just make sure we have that defined out, what that falls under?
I don't think it's defined further. I think it's, can we justify it as being under those categories?
Right, and I just need a little bit more defining on that. It's, the other thing that I don't see on here, we have TVCCA as a meals program, but what about our children's, Head Start program? would that be an agency that could possibly fit into this, that we could consider since they're a separate, they would fall, right, childcare?
Yes.
Right, I think that is vital, and I think it fits into this whole network. You know, overwhelmingly, people were talking about affordability and access, and I think supporting youth starts with childcare. So I just think that would be a great one, that I'd love to have them come speak. Also, looking at this, you know, it does say streetscapes improvements in neighborhoods and developments in community where companions repealers hired. I mean, I don't even know where we have those. Do you have a list of where those are located in our community? I'm not saying I want to do that, but I think I should have that information to know.
They mean community-wide. There is nothing special about that within Groton.
Okay. And then, services for living in Municipal release from DOC custody, mental health and addiction. Would we be able to use this for our counseling program? Because I know I've seen, or if I'm reading it correctly, and bear with me, I did see that some people were thinking of using it to increase their counseling program for their town for people who couldn't afford. They hired extra counselors.
I mean, council can do as they want. I just want to caution that, generally speaking, we've been talking about towing the line on budget. My intent here is to offset costs, not add in more costs. You know, I think that's not, you know, I think we're getting into a phase where we really need to toe the line on the budget, but.
And I can agree with that. My comment of funding these is not saying that they're going to be stayed programs. My thought is that you penetrate and you fund it. So if we're able to give 3 more youth addiction counseling services or mental health services, which would prevent addiction in that 1 year, then we're funding it in a basis where we know that that money is running out. So there's a way to fund things but not carry them into the budget year. That's all I'm saying. Most of these monies come in and they're not meant to make them whole. They're sometimes temporary taps, which can make a program, like I said, an extra $5,000 to the counseling department might be able to service 3 more youth than they used to. So that's my thought. But I can respect what the town manager is saying. I'm not looking to extend our budget or grow it. I'm looking to enhance and support other programs for our community that maybe we already have in place, but now we can serve more. So we have a counseling program. Maybe there's a way to fund more for that program. So there's a lot to look at here, but I agree with the 26. So do we send you those requests of people that may want to come speak about those programs too for the 26 as well?
That is the choice of the council. Nobody has here decided to open it up beyond this, the vetted budget items, if that would have to be the will of the council.
Okay. Can I make a motion?
Counselor, your time has expired.
I thought you can make a motion at any time.
Counselor Bordelon, your motion?
I don't know if.
Let me just stop you before you start, please. When you want to make a motion, you are supposed to make the motion and then speak to your motion. You're not supposed to use all your time and then make a motion and try and speak again on your motion. So I just want you to know that once you make the motion, your time has expired, okay? Thank you. Your motion that you would like to put on the floor.
So I just want clarification first. So Counselor Parker's motion does not include outside agencies to come, is what you're saying? It just is.
Counselor Parker has a motion to postpone.
But nothing added to it, okay? No agencies or anything like that. All right, so I'd like to make a motion.
Oh, no, I can't put a amended motion on top of a postponement, so I'm sorry, I can't accept your motion.
Okay, that's fine.
Counselor West, did you have your hand up or no?
I guess I'm seeking clarification. The motion on the floor is a motion to postpone to get information from the finance director, correct?
And whether it could be incorporated into the budget.
Correct.
But nowhere in there does it say to add, because at some point there was a discussion about vetting people and putting out, seeking people.
We have not
Okay.
had that discussion. My thought is there is a motion to postpone on the floor, but the reality is this is where we should be talking about what else the rest of the council wants to talk about before we just simply postpone. So if you have something you would like to throw into the conversation before the vote happens to postpone, because maybe you want further information, or you would like to put a suggestion out there, this is your time probably to do it. That's how I see it.
Okay, I guess I'm,
And may I see your rules thing, please?
yes. I just want some clarification. I guess I'm a little bit confused on where we're going with this. So we're postponing it to talk to Dee. But we haven't talked about who we are inviting to seek this funding, other than people that are already on the list, which I'm going to be honest, I'm tiptoeing around that list because I work with most of them. So I don't want to talk about any specific people on that list. It's just the list. I guess previously, we gave funding to one person and the money went directly to them. But we are talking about, two people, and the money went directly to them like that month. Now we are talking about setting this money aside and putting it to offset the budget, correct?
That's one
Potentially,
option.
that is, one counselor has requested that. One counselor, the council has not agreed to this.
Okay, but that is the theory behind postponing? Through the mayor?
I believe,
To Counselor, may I ask Counselor Parker, is that the theory behind postponing?
Yes, because I want more further clarification that it can be done that way because of the motion.
there is no motion other than.
Well, but my postponement, again, the agencies that are listed here sounds like you want to use to offset for the budget session. My concern is, we definitely have to, you know what, it's too much discussion. I'll take a second turn.
Okay, so I guess my concern is that we don't have an application process, and there are agencies within Groton that may fall under this.
Counselor Bordelon, would you please stop shaking your head? If I'm not allowed to look at you, you're not allowed to shake your head, please. Please stop. Please, just please, you are out of order for doing this. It is not, in Robert's Rules of Order, you are not allowed to do gestures like that, like I'm not allowed to look at you, I guess. So, Counselor Rusk, you may continue.
I can shake my head.
So I would love to add an application process to this. Unfortunately, I apologize that I don't have this thought out and written out today, and I should have brought that with me. I had thought about it earlier today, and I didn't bring that with me. But I would love to have an application process for agencies that could potentially use this money. It may be our same agencies, and we may not be adding anybody. I do like the idea of offsetting the budget with this money versus a one-off in the middle of the year. But I feel like maybe we don't have everybody that we should have on our list. I will end there.
Thank you. Counselor Parker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So my postponement was twofold. I did mention the application process so that we can come up with something, and it shouldn't be too hard to come up with something in 2 weeks' time. Part two is to talk to all these agencies and Ms. Morrison to confirm that this will work out. I believe we have to be very careful about how we do the application process, but because we also have to remember that there are 5 items we have to make sure that they fall under. It sounds like the 6th one is very open-ended, which community service engagement, all of them do, because they give back into the community and help our community. That I'm okay with. I think we can come up with an application in a 2-week period, but I would like to request that Mr. Burt be the person that all the information goes to confirm that our ideas for an application process, if I don't want to overburden them, but our application process is correct, and then have it be reviewed, then have Ms. Morrison come back with information to say, yes, it can be done that way, and then, yes, these people can get this application, just to be on the safe side. If we're going to use this money to offset our budget process, then we need to have something in place. So I wanted it to be twofold. It gives everybody time to come up with something, and there, yes, there are other agencies that can be part of the process. And one of them could be the Groton Community Meals that need its assistance. So I don't want us to hinder ourselves in certain things, and we're not helping other community partners that are doing something in our community. And I want to make sure that we're going to do this properly. Thank you.
Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I just wanted to go back to understand, at the beginning of the conversation, we had talked about doing level funding on where they were, and then using this money to supplement the increase that they might have. So I just, looking at the list that's up on the screen, and I don't know what the total dollar amount of all those services.
Mr. Berg, can you change to the next screen as well? Next page. Well, it's the one you printed out for us, and it has a summary of all outside agencies. And there it
Okay,
is.
so if we can, all right, so just go back to the previous screen, just for a moment. I just want to make sure I understand. So I'll just use an example, because you use the libraries in here. So the funding, original funding, and just from this stream, the Mystic Library had 160,000. They asked for 180,000. So it was basically 20,600. Is it your intent that we, out of the general fund, would fund the 160, and then the 20,600 would come from this 195,000? And that same would go across all of these. Is that what your original intent was?
The intent was, one way or another, just to offset tax dollars. We don't often have the opportunity to save some tax dollars. We know it's tough with the school budgeting. It's certainly gonna be another school year. I'm not real in favor of just giving out money. I'd rather offset these. Like, let's say you look at the agencies, which is 150-something thousand, you know, we could incorporate more of an application process as part of that to, you know, expand that list to whatever amount we think we're gonna have. That'd be one thing we could do. We just, again, we probably want to ask each one, how do you fit into these categories? Please explain to us to make sure that we agree it fits into those categories.
And so it wasn't taking the entire block of them. We may kind of pick and choose or take some out of here, and then we fund X part of their budget, and the rest of it comes out of the 195 budget. And then we have to that's the sort of the discussion, to try to figure out what that percentage or what that amount is. It's not, because they don't know what their budget is at this point of the year until they do budget stuff at the end of the year. So we wouldn't even know what those numbers are. But would you spend the money now, or would you spend it at the budget season?
I don't want to spend it just to spend it. I feel like we're just wanting to spend the money. You know, if you look at the education budget, they're looking at probably not funding $1 million of their health fund. It's going to be another issue next year. Part of the issue has just been pushed off. We need to find some savings, some cost revenue alternative. You know, so I'm not just in favor of just spending it, to spend it.
Okay.
There might be some other of these small agencies to fit into that budget for next year.
So we would take, in this case, the 195 and put it somewhere, hold it off on the side until we figure out, and then at budget season, we would access that money as opposed to maybe general fund money. Is that under some formula that we've kind of figured out
right
somewhere?
And alternatively, again, I don't want, you know, you definitely want, you know, if you're looking at this many agencies, you need a real process. And
it may apply to some of these, but it not apply to the other ones.
And it's not like they've been coming asking for money. Again, I'm not big into just giving out money when it's not being asked for.
Okay. So that's a question then, do any of these agencies come to you sort of mid-season and say, we need a little more money?
No, because we reach out to them. What do you need for this year to operate? What do you think you need from us to offset your budget?
Okay, and that's outside the normal budget process?
Yeah. We do a letter to you, like now a lot of these are just set, you know, but most everything you see on the list is like all the 151,000 worth of the the service agencies. We sent a letter
Yeah.
to each one of them. If we hear of others that have been asking about it, because a lot of these, we've added a couple over time. They hear about, they know these things are out there. We've added them in. Some have dropped off. They quit asking for money, like the music program, the chamber that was in there before. We've sent letters to them. They've never, there's a couple years they haven't been responding. But we also sent letters to the libraries, et cetera. Hey, you have to now, what's your budget looking like? What are you requesting? Yeah, so.
Okay.
So,
right.
whatever, essentially, it's just like a grant that you would say, we're going to use these to fund these agencies because we can under these provisions, and that saves some tax dollars.
Okay.
That makes our
All right,
budgeting
I'm in
easier
favor
for
of
next year.
Postponing to try to get a little more information of how we're going to sort of tackle this. It's hard to sort of just tackle it on the fly. So, okay, all right, I guess that answers my question. All right, thank you.
If you want to just postpone, Dee and I can talk it over and make some sort of recommendation.
That would be, I think, to me, that would be good to hear some kind of recommendation from you on how you would sort of want to move forward with it. So I don't know how much I'm in favor of adding more agencies into this, but.
Or even I can give you 2 or 3 options. Here's
Right.
what we think needs to be done for this, how you would do it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Point of information?
Your question?
So we are, if I'm hearing correctly, under Councilor Parker's request, it was to also review, so we should send them the same way to the town manager if there's an outside
No.
agency?
No, we're not ready
No.
for that.
We're not ready
It is
yet
a
for that.
postpone.
Not ready for that yet, all right.
No.
And then my last question.
Your time has
question.
expired, Council.
I have a clarifying question.
Your clarifying question.
Sure, my clarifying question is there a deadline of when the money has to be expended?
No,
So it's open-ended?
yes.
Thank you.
I'm not sure, though, I can make it for the 26th for this. I might need a little more time just to be aware. So it's fine to postpone to them, but it might just carry over the timing.
So from what I'm seeing on the budget items, it was approximately what we've increased our outside agencies from 25 to 26, averages up to about $83,000. We have 195,000 at the time, approximately 196 almost. So I don't know what else that we could offset on our budget with the cannabis money. I would be interested in, like you said, I don't want to just fund to fund, I agree. But I also think we could help certain groups without them having to increase their budget in our budget. Whether you do it in your budget or however you do it, I think it is a good policy and a plan, as was stated, that there is an application process that would go out when you do your annual letter to them, asking for what their request is, and you send whatever questionnaire that would ask the same kind of questions that fit into this cannabis questionnaire. Which one would they, I think that's a great idea. I would be in favor of postponing this to the 26th. I also have concerns about our future budgets, although I will not be here for those. But that was my mentality, was to try and get this to help stabilize the outside services budget. And I am also in favor of potentially adding 1 or 2 items as outside agencies that truly help our community and is in great need. And that, as Councilor Parker had stated, Groton Community Meals, I think that is a very good organization that really helps our community, on top of some of the other ones listed on here. So with that, I don't see any other hands, so we're going to take a vote to postpone Cannabis 2025-687, cannabis tax revenue use, postponed to August 26th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That's postponed. 8 to 0 to 0. Take the 26. All right, up next is 2025-681. This is in our packet on page 16. There's no motion on this one either. Mr. Burke?
As a way of background, the town council recently approved both a tax agreement and a lease agreement for the solar at the landfill, totaling $228,000 per year for 20 years. The ratio changes from year to year due to depreciation. For instance, year one, the tax portion is 74,500. By year 20, it's 49,184. So it's a little bit, some are just mixed in with taxes versus a separate payment. We received a referral from Councilor Bordelon, supported by Councilors Good and McBride. Reading this email is to request support for a referral to discuss and take action on a plan to dedicate a certain percentage of the revenue generated by the landfill solar panel project. For example, the money could be used to invest in further development of solar energy in town, such as parking lot solar panels. Or another example, the money could be used to offset the cost of athletic fields. I will, just to mention on the solar, we've looked at the panels and we're pretty much doing what we can for this moment for town buildings for solar. So I would not suggest something like solar.
Thank you. Counselor Bordelon.
Thank you. This is just something that I had thought of, and I was just looking at other ways as we bring in other monies. It's good to invest them back in how we're receiving them, and it's just a thought. There could be something set up where people, you set up an incentive for the town where people could apply for money to help install solar panels. That's just a thought. So like maybe, maybe 10,000 of this, or maybe 30,000, and people could get a $500 incentive. I don't know. Just also athletic fields. Looking at the lighting that's going to be needed. I mean, this money could be possibly used to offset some of the amenities that are needed there, because it's an annual basis money that's coming in. So. To my understanding, is that correct? And it may be changing a little bit here or there, but it's an annual.
The total amount will not change.
Okay.
It's just two different funding sources.
Yeah, so it's annual, so we can count on that annually,
For
and we
20
have
years.
this set up for 20 years. So that's a good chunk of change to kind of offset those athletic fields that people are wanting, which I totally support. Also, other solar initiatives, like one of the ideas I brought up for the Quonic Plains Park with those solar lights down there to extend walking hours for folks. Maybe there's some other parking lots or areas as we, to look at, maybe there's some repairs needed or to keep something up. But again, I'm open to ideas. These were just a few ideas, but there's a greater need in our community, and it's a great way to say, here's some money coming in. How can we move it in and show an impact on the change we're going to create? That's my thought process. Again, open to all and every idea that folks have. I don't think there's a bad idea out there. It's just kind of this is money that's not already being allocated to something per se, but it's a way of putting it into a green initiative. It also could help to get those solar compactors to complete those projects. Don't forget, the list came forward and we weren't able to allocate to finish them all. So Parks and Rec, maybe could get their completion done, or some more compactors down further on Gravel Street, as Mr. Hanover had stated. So just some other ways to kind of think about ways to put this money back into a green initiative in the town. So I'll start with that, and I'm open to ideas and thoughts, and I think it's a great incentive. Thanks.
Mr. Burr.
One thought that came to my mind is, I'd want to talk to our bond council, but it could be a golden opportunity if you dedicated this to the referendum project. You could probably write the explanatory text, saying the cost is reduced by $200,000 a year to taxpayers by dedicating these funds. So it might make it easier to pass that. I'd want to talk to our bond council about whether that's legitimate in the explanatory text, but it could help with that. We're a little bit limited on, there was some talk about it be offset by reducing debt payments from other naturally reducing. We're a little bit limited on what we can say in that. This would be a little more clearly dedicated to this purpose. So if you were going to dedicate it, I would say that. Otherwise, again, just use it, because that would be a save, and then if it falls through, then you'll allocate it somewhere else, of course. You'll know by the next budget process if phase one is passing or is passed or not. But otherwise, again, caution, don't spend it to spend it, just, use it to offset other existing costs. Because it's, part of a good chunk to be right in their taxes, you're gonna have to track that separately, so I'd want a good purpose for that.
Counselor Jones?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm a little reluctant to start assigning commercial tax revenue to all these sort of little different things. I mean, this is just a commercial property that's in the town, like every other commercial project that's in the town. The money just goes to the general fund and we allocate it as we need it. I don't want to start having little pockets of money here and little pockets of money there and starts a precedent where we're starting to, every new project that comes to fruition in the town, we start dividing up the tax revenue into little pockets, little buckets. I think that's a sort of a bad thing. I think we need to give the town manager and the budget process the flexibility to use the general fund as we need it. It's an interesting idea what the town manager just mentioned. I mean, I think that's a good possibility for it. It's staying right into the bonds and it's allocated that way. So I can probably support that. But in general, I think taking tax revenue and dividing it up into little pieces here and there on project is not a good way to do it. I think it just kind of hamstrings the town manager to, unless he feels different, kind of hamstrings the town manager to, allocate funds as he needs to for the general, for the, the betterment of the town. So I'm not in favor of doing it, but unless the town manager thinks that idea for the bond stuff is okay, then I can support him on that. Thank you.
I'm not going to see any hand, I'm not seeing any hands, so I'll speak on this one.
After.
Okay. I'm writing down your name, sorry, hold on. So I would be in favor if there is a benefit for the bonding, if there is some type of benefit to allocate it towards some kind of bonding for the schools that would give us some kind of benefit of some sort, I would do that. Because it is just simply the same as putting it in the general fund and then just basically applying it. But is that correct, Mr. Burt? It's just simply saying you're putting it in the general fund and applying it towards that, because either way, the money would go into the general fund, and if we had a bond, we'd be using our general fund to pay it either way. Is that correct? Is this trying to show that you're not increasing taxes?
If the phase one passes, it's just offsetting our costs, there's no real difference. It's just, it would only be worthwhile if we could build it into the explanatory text to help improve the odds. That'd be the only
That's what I'm
reason.
saying. The only reason to do it would be to increase the odds of the bonding to show that it's not really a tax increase because of I get what you're saying, that I would be in favor of. Other than that, and even so, it would still basically be like a general fund pass through. Either way, the money would be going to the general fund, we'd still be paying for the bond if the bond passes. So it's either way,
If you don't get the bonus on the explanatory text, there'd be no purpose to it.
Right, so if that was not a benefit for the community, I would rather have the money go straight into the general fund. I would be in favor of looking at the bonding issue, just to help with the potential of that passing. So, Councilor Parker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just rather it go to the general fund, honestly. It's a tax that they're paying, and most of our taxes go into the general fund. So, thank you.
Councilor McBride.
Yeah, excuse me, I think it's a good idea, but I also in favor of having this go to the general fund. As I mentioned on previous matters, I think these are all budget-related discussions, and I think most of these should be during the budget process and not offline like we're doing now. So I would be in favor of it going to the general fund, just like other items do, and handle it with the proper, with the team that's, the council team during the budget process.
But we won't have a budget before the bonding.
That's okay.
Then how are you going to put it into the referendum?
I wouldn't put it in the referendum.
Okay,
I would just
I understand.
do the referendum as is. I think $200,000 isn't gonna, I don't think it's gonna make a big difference on 16 million.
Okay.
Sorry, Madam Mayor.
Did you have any comments? No. Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Councilor Good.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate Councilor Bordelon bringing up some ideas, but I'm also very in favor of putting it into the general fund. I think even tonight, we've heard some warning calls about the upcoming budget, and the more we have ready for that, the better, I think. So that's my idea.
I will speak.
Can I just ask a clarifying question, Mr. Burt? Just to clarify that I am speaking in the right terms. If the money for the bonding, for the athletic fields, it would go basically to the general fund like we always do. And if you put it in the referendum to go towards the athletic fields, it would go there. Is that
If you
correct?
dedicate it, my thought is, I'd want to check again with the bond council, because as it is, I was working on, I drafted the first draft of the explanatory text today using the Groton 2020 plan model of it, and there's a chart that shows cost per year for the bond, both the principal and interest, estimated mill increase, and then annual cost on home per $1,000. Now, 200, this doesn't do a lot, but it's about $5, just under $5 savings per $100,000 of assessed value. But it's something, at today's mill rate value. But we have the language in the explanatory, we have the money parts. If you could reduce that by 200,000, it would show up, every year through that list. And then under the explanatory, it says exactly what we're doing. There's a little blurb that this does not take into consideration savings from national reductions in bonds. I was able to get a generic sentence in there, but the idea would be, could we build it right in there that the council has dedicated these funds, so this is the, what the estimated mill rate would be.
So let's just say we didn't put it towards the referendum. We didn't put this explanatory text. The money would still come down, go into the general fund, and we would take our general fund and still pay for the bond either way.
Or whatever, yeah, it'd be more blended, but yes.
But,
All right.
right?
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be,
It would just be
it wouldn't be
details, every
saying it was
revenue.
specifically this money coming through and going there. It would be,
Tallies every revenue.
it would be all the general fund
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
used. So either way, the money.
Every
would be
other source gets
paying
tallied,
us.
and the difference from your estimate, for your expenditures and all that tally, that's the taxes you're gonna collect.
Thank you. Councilor Rusk?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I appreciate thought process behind, or my perceived thought process behind this discussion. I do agree that it should just go to the general fund. In my mind, that makes the most sense. Any way that we can offset taxes for our residents, I greatly appreciate. So I will be supporting moving it forward to the general fund. Thank you.
Councilor Bordelon?
Thank you. Again, it's not saying it wouldn't go to the general fund, but it also says, like, where our initiative, as we, made a statement saying that we were, trying to be more, looking at a resilient Groton, and we have this whole statement, we are basically, it's just like my check comes in every week or whatever money. In my mind, I'm saying, I'm gonna buy these solar trash compactors with it, or I'm gonna, invest that into this. It's still gonna go in through there. It's just a direction item of ask that says a percent of it, not even all of it. But we heard tonight that there's some solar packs that aren't gonna be able to be purchased. Here's some solar money that we weren't anticipating that's coming every year, that we could say that we are making a message to the community. We're gonna take that, which would offset taxes. It's still gonna go through the general fund, but we are gonna make a hard effort of an example of money, like written in the bond agreement or however, and say to the community, we're gonna take this money and invest it forward into the athletic fields. Or if, another idea was to purchase solar trash compactors or some type of solar initiative. Now, it's still gonna go to the general fund, but there would be a program set up where people could apply to get an incentive. I feel, lack a lot of those incentives. If you go on other towns' websites, they have things where they've taken in funds and things and have community things. We have a couple, but, this is another thing. We're trying to, people are trying to get off of the fossil fuels and trying to use other things. But I thought the athletic fields was a great way of, it's kind of coming to the general fund, but we're already saying, making a message that we want to move that right towards. So that was my thought. If it doesn't have the support of the council, I appreciate the two councilors who did support it, because I think any fair and honest discussion is good, and I think all councilors should have a fair opportunity to have an agenda item to discuss. But if it's not the will of the council, we'll go in the general fund and we'll go from there. But I just figured it's money that's freshly coming in. It's coming in for 20 years. It's going to have an end date. And we can do an initiative to reinvent that into something that's impactful in our community and really say, wow, when you can actually phase something and say, okay, here's the money that's coming in from this, that we, we're coming in, and now we're moving it, or planning to move it through the general fund to this, just a thought, and I thought maybe it would help people to digest the athletic fields as well, so, but thank you, and we'll see where it goes.
Mayor? We're only about 2 months away from starting our capital project list for the next budget year. I usually get $10 to $12 million of requests, sometimes more, and I cut it down to $3 million-ish, $3.5 million. And some of those will be resilience projects, so, if it just stays in the general fund, essentially it could end up making a difference of whether I cut a resilience project or not, so if we're gonna leave it in, I'd rather have the flexibility.
Well, I'll take my last turn, and as I said, I would be supportive if people wanted to go in the direction of helping to put this in the referendum wording, to allocate it towards athletic fields, to help with bonding, if this would help get the bonding referendum over the, over the finish line to get people supportive of it and vote for it, because it would help offset the taxes, because we have dedicated revenue going towards it. Either way, the money still goes to the general fund, and it still goes to be paying for a bond. Either way, I mean, the money from this, I mean, I hear what people are saying. If it could not be used in the bonding wording, I would be in favor of just simply going into the general fund to offset taxes. I think either way, it would be going to the general fund to offset taxes if you put it in the wording for the bonding, and the bonding passed either way. So it's all the same money going to the general fund and then paying for something. It's just if you want to put it in the wording of the referral. So,
I'd like to make a motion.
your motion.
I'll throw it out there. I'd like to make a motion to consider this money in, this amount in the bonding language. And if it doesn't, obviously, it goes.
I need like the wording, how you want to say it. Like,
I mean, I leave it up to the manager. I don't write bonds, but.
no, but you have to do the motion on the floor,
Is there,
because there's no motion.
Through
on
the
floor.
through the mayor, through the town manager, is there a certain wording I should say, or is that just to be clear with it?
Give me a sec.
Yeah,
If the mayor would like me to.
Are you
Oh,
asking
and
for
point, wait a minute,
inquiry?
point of information? Are we asking, I'm sorry, are we asking the town manager to do the motion?
I believe so. I think that's, are you asking the town manager to word your motion?
I'm asking for clarification on, I just don't want to put a random thing down. He has more of an idea of what language could go in there. Asking if there's a certain language I should present.
Are you, I don't know what you're asking for to begin with.
Just as I stated that I'd like to propose an idea to put the language in, if he's able to, in the bonding referendum. So I'm asking for clarification on basic words. Obviously, he's going to alter it the way he needs to make it fit in, but I was asking if there was a certain language that would be preferred.
May I help?
Well, are you just simply asking for him to talk to the bonding people to see if we can do this first?
I'm putting a motion down so that if it can, then it's already done.
Do you understand that, Mr. Burt? Are you writing up a motion for Council Borderline?
Move to dedicate the annual $228,000 from lease and tax payments from the transfer station solar project to offset costs of phase one of the athletic field project to be included in the November 4th, 25 bond referendum, something to that effect.
But you don't even know if we can do that yet.
That's why I
No,
said if,
right. And alternatively, I would have to find out for sure. But that's what she was getting at. That's what the motion was.
Point of information.
Your question.
Since we don't know whether or not this can even happen, I feel like we've moved everything to the 26th. Would it make more sense to move, to postpone this discussion to the 26th so that we know whether or not that is even an option before a motion is made and discussed?
I would have to agree with that, to find out first before a motion, because a motion, if failed tonight, would not be able to come back up again. I would rather have information to find out if we could do this to begin with. Councilor Bordelon has not received a second on her motion at the moment.
So I guess I'll just make a motion to ask the town manager to come back with the possibilities of the language, if it's possible.
You would like to postpone till a
That's fine if
date
it-
specific?
If there is a date specific that you guys want.
It's your motion.
For the request for the town manager to come back if it's possible for this language to even be used for, I don't know, you're shaking your head, I'm thinking.
Sorry.
I'm asking for,
Would you like to postpone this to August 26th and have the town manager come back with
yeah,
information?
you guys have the dates, I don't make the schedule, so sure, that works for me.
That's our next meeting.
Didn't know if it could fit on that.
We would have to because the explanatory text has to be
Perfect.
done that night.
Well, there you go, that works for me then.
Postpone to 8/26. Ask Mr. Burke to check with the bond agency
Sounds
if this is allowable.
Perfect.
Need a second.
Moved by Bordelon, seconded by Franco. Any further conversation on this? Counselor Ross?
I'd be okay with postponing this just to have the conversation. I'm not sure that I will support it in the future, but I'm okay with postponing it.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands, we're going to take a vote to postpone. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Was that Good and McBride?
Yes.
And
And Jones.
Jones? And abstain? So I have 5 to 3 to 0. It's postponed to 8/26 to see if it is allowable. All right, so the next item on our agenda is other business. I would like to bring up that there was a referral out for the libraries. It was to figure out a fair and balanced way of funding our outside libraries, which is the Knowing Mystic Library as well as the Bill Memorial Library. I am asking if there is anybody here, because we have standing committees, but I would just like to put together a committee to do a discussion, very quick discussion with a shorter timeline, to come up with an idea to find a fair and balanced way of funding these outside libraries, as we did with the fire departments and the ambulance crews. So it's fair and balanced, and that maybe we could put some kind of process in place for the future. And would anybody like to volunteer to be on that kind of committee? And I think we could ask for it to be very quick and come back next month, if that's possible. Any volunteers? Yes?
I'll do it.
Councilor Parker, are you asking a question or would like to volunteer?
A volunteer.
Okay, Parker? Counselor Good? I'd like one more, please. All right, Counselor McBride.
I would just ask that we not dedicate much of a change in total cost, if possible. Again.
Yeah,
keeping
we're not looking to like increase a ton of money here, but we are looking for a fair and balanced way to find something like when we did with the ambulance, you found actually, that there was amount of calls and runs, and that's how it is based upon. I don't think it should be library cards because they'll be out there doing runs on library card, But maybe finding something that is like the key thing that can help drive a fair and balanced way of doing a budget would be nice. Because I think for a very long time, it's just been on feelings and what they've asked for. So without any real I think the council, or some councilors have done a really good job of digging in for the ambulance as well as the fire districts, and give them a lot of kudos for that. So
Motion
if
to
you guys
adjourn?
could, let me just ask, which one of you would like to be the chair of that?
Oh, I guess that will be me.
All right, so Counselor Parker will chair it, so she will set up dates, and if you guys could have a meeting, how many ever you choose, and try and come back to the council next month at some time and give us a report on what you find, would be wonderful. And if you need to talk to Mr. Byrd about anything, I'm sure he would be there to help.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we got a motion to adjourn by Bordelon, seconded by Mara. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Abstaining? Passes 8-0. All righty.
P.S. David, I was
everybody.
looking
Drive
at you
safe.
from around this shoulder.